Carmona says, how can I explain ADHD to my Ghanaian husband? It's so hard. I feel so bad. I could not convey why I behave a certain way. So I see your last name. It's a Ghanaian last name. So look, I'm from Ghana as well. I'll say this. Back where we're from, so here in America, like I make these videos posting my mental health. I try to make it funny and humorous and engaging. And I'm realizing that a lot of people in the States, Americans do not know how ADHD works. They don't know how mental health works, right? But go back to my country in West Africa, we have even less knowledge, right? Like at least people in the States are like, okay, I think ADHD is a real thing. Maybe my friend isn't lying when they say that, they lose their keys every day. But where we're from in Ghana, we have much less knowledge about this stuff, and it's a life goal of mine to find a way to go back to my country and help them out as well. Like I'm gonna be here in LA, but I want to help out my people as well. I would say, I mean, maybe show your husband some of my videos, talk about the things that you do, and maybe even both of y'all going to therapy. But it's very difficult because some people just do not understand. And I'm talking about my people. I mean, you can say this for the African American community as a whole. The education is not there, right? So that's why I feel like it's a job of mine to have to educate, my people back at home in Africa through these videos, right? So sometimes sending a video will help. But I think, maybe even taking your husband with you to the doctor's appointment. You got to find a doctor who actually believes in ADHD, because some doctors I've learned don't think ADHD is a real thing. I don't know how they became a doctor, but taking your husband to an appointment could be very helpful. I wish I didn't get bored with things so easily. As soon as I feel I've mastered a job, I always like to go try something completely new. So this is something that a lot of people with ADHD deal with, including myself, right? So sometimes, like even the videos I make, I've never not enjoyed being Dr. Kojo. I love doing this, right? But if I keep making the same type of video over time, I will get bored. I'm like, all right, I have to switch it up so that way I don't stop, right? So sometimes you can throw a little wrinkle in what you do, right? And just kind of flip it a little bit. It might allow you to do that thing for, much more longer. Brett, this counts. Thank you for sharing. Sister diagnosed at 40 and Brett was diagnosed at 10. So this is literally a thing, a 30-year gap. And these are siblings, right? If this is your first time seeing how this works, it might freak you out a bit. Usually notice the right way leading to early diagnosis. This is correct. This is actually correct, so a lot of boys being jumpy in class, eventually being the class clown only gets you so far. And then the teachers will, write on a report card and then somebody will see you. But for women, sometimes that's not the case unless they are disruptive. Abigail says, masking is super scary for me, especially when it comes to people I date. I have no idea what that would look like. Ooh. So this is actually super, super scary, Abigail, especially when it comes to dating, right? Now I know that it's 2023, so people say, oh, we don't do gender roles anymore. Women can do a man's job, a man can do. Now we appear to be quite progressive, right? Sure. But we have to be realistic, right? If Abigail's on a date with somebody, right? And let's say there's a couple of quirky things that she does or whatever, or, you show up late or whatever it is, right? If you unmask, right? Let's say Abigail meets somebody off of a dating app or Hinge or whatever, and you're on the second date and the guy is digging you or you're, the person that you're dating, they're digging you and whatnot. And then you start to show parts of yourself. That's pretty scary because you don't know if they're going to stay. They won't. And if you like them, you kind of want them to stay around, right? So the natural tendency is to make sure that you're on your best behavior, right? Like you come early, you come on time, you don't do anything weird, right? But you can only keep that up for so long. And that's going to cause so much anxiety. You're like, all right, how do I unmask? And eventually you get more comfortable with being yourself. And it's so funny because like as a kid, we are ourselves. Like when you're a kid, you do weird things. Like we're kids, but then when we become adults, we feel like we have to be somebody else, right? That's just life. And then you throw in the neurodivergence, becomes much more difficult, right? So Abigail, you gotta be kind to yourself because people will say, "Oh, yeah, just show people who who you are, and people gotta accept you for who you are." Until you actually show them who you are, and then folks are like, "You're weird," right? So I mean, it's good to be upfront and say that because we know that what people say and what they do is two different things sometimes, right? So you can't judge yourself. Try to give myself grace when I feel like I failed. Like, no, I was easy with family, kids, and business depending on you. Shannon, true, but I'll guarantee you that you're probably doing better than you think. Anytime that I'm struggling, I always tell myself I'm doing better than I think. Like our brains, that's why all this education is important. And I'm excited I get to do it in like my fun way, and thank you to the people who watch because I do want to continue to educate people and get these conversations going, but I want to do it in this fun and engaging and informing way, right? And even I've had moments where, like, I came from the Today Show in New York. Like, that's the height of my whatever I'm doing, right? And then a week later, I had like a rough week, and I'm like, oh, I'm failing at life. I was just on the Today Show. Why am I thinking that I'm failing at life, right? Our brains have all these negative thoughts that come through, and we have to filter it and be like, nah, 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 no, 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 right? So yeah, just keep that in mind. Just keep that in mind.